Welcome to Adam Software Updates Fall 2023. My name is Mark Preco, President and Founder of Adam Software, and it's my pleasure to present these changes to you today. All the way from a change here with our logo, Adam Software, we got a new website, and of course we have the new application. So some of the more changes we've had in probably 20 years to the software. One is we're giving you the latest technology that's out there. Two, we had to make some updates just because Microsoft wasn't supporting some pages anymore. So we were forced to make those updates to make sure we have support from Microsoft if we need it. So to begin with, if you guys need to get your outline, if you don't have it, just go ahead and go into Adam Software up the help menu there. Should be able to download it, jot down any notes related to how it would affect your office. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So to begin, a lot of these pages, because they're all new, I'm going to kind of demonstrate to them just it's a new look. It's a new, fresh, cleaner look. This one right here is the self-check-in screen. This is actually coming from our tax office here. If you guys are using the check-in screen, again, it can also be used mobile, and I'll be doing this, showing how it's responsive. All the pages are responsive, so anything you see on your desktop, you can also see on your phone or tablet. So it's a check-in screen. This is our lobby tracker screen. The change that we did here, other than a new look, cleaner look, but now the appointment type is going to display. So if you're using the lobby tracker, we use it in our office. One, for the client so they can keep track of where they are in the queue. Two, it's kind of a nice visual for the preparers to see who's next. In this case, now we're taking virtual appointments as well as in-person appointments, so it's going to tell me what the appointment type here, so I know, do I need to contact this client because they're sitting at home, or are they physically in my office? That's why we have this as appointment type here. So I'm going to go ahead and close these out. Lastly, we kind of cleaned up our prospect page a little bit. Again, this is coming from our tax office here. It's just a cleaner look. The instructions, now we're running a tax school, so you're going to see this big thing. Our instructions are now going to be just a bar across the top as opposed to it was over here on the right. We also got rid of, there was a bar going across the top that said if you're an existing client, go to the portal. Now we have the prospect page is doing like a lookup based on their email and their phone number. So if it finds that email or phone number in the database as an existing client, it's going to tell them to go use the portal, client portal, as opposed to using this, because the prospect page is just designed for new clients that aren't already in your system. So now Adam's going to look those up based on email and phone number. It also does that with the new client appointment too, if you guys are using that page. The client portal. Okay, so a lot of these changes, again, I kind of told you why we did the changes. This is huge for the client portal. So this is a much better experience your clients are going to have. We made the portals a lot easier for your clients to use. It's a lot, so they know what you're asking of them. So let me jump in here real quick to that. I'm going to close this out here. Yeah, close this out. And let me pull over the portal page here. So here's a login to the client portal. As you know, you have login selection, the client does anyways, like ID or email. It's going to default actually to the ID. We're assuming that most people are logging in with their social security number, which access code. So it actually will pop in right here. The login selection will default to ID. All right, now if you're using strictly email, obviously it's not going to default to ID, it's going to default to email. But anyway, if you have the option of ID or email, it's going to default to ID and pop right here in the field. Hopefully this will make it easier for your clients to log in. So they're just going to log in like normal. Password. All right, so now they're in here. So obviously you should say, wow, this is completely different than what it was before. And that's because it is completely different. Now we have these are called cards. So the cards are a way of getting information to the client that something just got updated. So obviously the big one is they owe you money, $330. This one right here, means you just put a new document out there for them. So if they click on that, which I will in a second, it'll go right to the documents page. E-sign. So if you're using Adam's e-sign, it's going to let them know they have a document out there that needs to be e-signed. Messages, number of unread messages, and then status if you're using this, because Adam can also tell them the status they are in the, basically in your workflow. So if you, be great for people to do drop off, obviously in virtual, because then they would be able to come here and check what's going on with their return. Is it almost done? Is someone working on it yet? As opposed to contacting you. This will give that information. So that we've always had that for the last 2 years. It's just now it makes it easier for the client to get this information. So if I click on, I want to look and see what my status is. It's going to pop in here. It says it's on hold. We need additional information from you before we can finish the return. All right, then to get back to my main menu, I just click up here. I can hit home or I can go anywhere within this page. So this is your client doing this. So I hit home, come back here. As you notice, the card for status is gone. It's because I just read it. So next time it gets updated again, that card will reappear. So these cards disappear as your clients take care of whatever you want them to do. So if you want me to look at a document, I come in here, oh, there's a power of attorney right here. Now if I go back to my home page, now my document card is gone. Messages, I come in here, I look at my messages. If I read them, obviously they disappear. I go back to my home page. Now my message card is gone. Now for e-sign, when I click on this, e-sign required, it's not going to disappear until I actually do the e-signature. Go back to my home page, and then my balance due, I click on the card. It takes me right to make a payment, and that card's not going to disappear until I make the payment. I can click over here because I have it linked to John's company, and I go to my home page, and I have a new set of cards here for that one. So in this case, JT Communications, different status for that company, and now it happens to be on hold also. But if I go back to my home page, again, now the card is gone. So that's kind of how our cards work up here. Again, it's just a way of getting information from you to your clients. Simpler way of doing it than what we did in the past. Quick links. This is where your clients can check their refund status, obviously, if return's been accepted or rejected. Go back to my home menu, upload their files, their documents, their messages, make a payment. You control the cards, you cannot control. All right, if you have that available on the portal, the card will show. Quick links here, you can customize this in admin to what you want to display here. So if you want more of your links, so here's everything right here that you can have display if you'd like it to right in here. So for the most part, what we're planning on doing is obviously upload files. I want that to be easy for our clients. My documents, now you did see there was a card up there that said my documents too, but it's only if it's a new document the card will display. If they want to go to their documents, they can just click here. Now they can always go up here in the menu too. So you guys can control what you want to display right here on the main page, the home page. Also, I'm going to switch this back over to John. As I said, and I'm going to show you how every page is responsive where it can be easily displayed on the phone. So as you see now my cards are stacked on top of each other. And again, here's my quick links. If I hit upload files, very easy for the client to go ahead and send you something from their phone. Let's see if there's anything else I need to show you in the portal. I think that is it. So I'm going to close the portal out. Again, I think this is so far the experience we've had with our clients that have used this, because we've been beta testing this for a few months. They love the portal. So right away, their response was, it's so easy because now I know what you want of me. So if I send them an e-sign, it says that right with the card. If I want them to look at their new message, it pops right out at them. Not to mention the phone, I mean, on the mobile version, it's so much nicer for them. So I'm going to close this. So now I'm at my login page. So obviously there's nothing different over here. You can customize this. That was a change last year. So the page itself looks nice, looks cleaner. Same way with the portal login page for your clients. Looks cleaner, looks nice. That's the whole thing. We're trying to make Adam more modern looking. Obviously, it allows us to get better technology to improve things for you. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And before I log in, I don't have two-factor authentication set up on this version of the demo, but I do encourage you guys. We've had that for years now. Use it. We've turned it on 100% in our tax office not for our clients. I mean, we can do that too. They could be two-factor. You can do that. You control all this. So if you want your clients to have the two-factor authentication when they log in the portal, they can. But for your employees, I strongly, encourage and recommend that for safety reasons. Okay, so it's very, it's pretty simple to use. Anyway, go ahead and log in here. As soon as it loads up the page, so obviously this is all going to look very different to you. Now I'm going to show you right now. I wasn't going to jump ahead to the office events, but I needed to have that where that flashing do now is going on right now. So I'm kind of jumping ahead in my outline, but I know this do now is only going to flash for a 30-minute span. Okay, so what this is it's telling me I have an appointment because it's linked to my a column in here, scheduled appointment, and there's a 30-minute window, 15 minutes before the appointment and 15 minutes after the appointment. I have it set in admin to flash do nows to make sure I don't miss this. So that's just something, that's a new feature we have with this heartbeat. It's called the heartbeat. So if I click on my lobby check-in right here, it's going to be one of the appointments right down in here, like my 5 o'clock appointment. So anyway, I wanted to jump ahead. I'm going to jump back to my normal outline, but I had to show you that because it's not easy to get this to flash with that 30-minute window. So I'm going to close this out here, and I'll get back to it too. So to start off with, at the top, let me get to where I need to go here. Okay, top banner here, we have the company logo. The reason I mentioned the logo is just if you left click on this, this is going to refresh the page and put you back into the home page. So I can click home, or I can left click on the actual, and this would be your logo, and it would take you back to your home page. So we moved our tabs over to the left. They were over to the right. They're a little smaller right now. And a lot of the changes we did, and I'll point these out as we go through it. But again, we had to keep the mobile phone in mind. All right. So to make Adam responsive on the phone, we had to make different changes that we may not have done if all we were looking at is a desktop. But because the real world is the phone and not just a desktop. So I find myself using the phone even more with Adam because it's more user friendly now. And your clients obviously probably use the phone more than a desktop when they send you information through the portal. So anyway, a lot of the changes we did, we had to keep the mobile version in mind at the same time. So we have the tabs moved over here. We have our tasks. If you click on tasks, it just goes right into my assigned tasks. Messages, it's going to alert you as to how many messages you have. My messages, I click on this, I go right to my messages. This is my user profile. If I click the profile, I go to my user page. If I hit log out, obviously I log out. Let's see here, office event header count right here. This next section down here, this is no different than we've had. This is just, obviously the color scheme is different too. Again, we're trying to give you the latest technology, things that makes it a little more pleasing to your eye with the color scheme as opposed to what we had before. So that's why you're going to see the little colors a little differently. But again, I think it's a fresh, cleaner look. I mean, that's not the only reason we did it, but that was all part of the whole big package of what we did. So this is your lobby. This is just tracking how many in your lobby if you have this turned on. The one change we added is you can now, it used to default only lobby could show up in this header. Now you can have any event you want to show up in here, and you control that in admin in the event status. So if I have one in my cashier, I wanted to be alerted so I can see this on any page I'm on. That's why I show that up here. So that's a change we made, and you control that again in admin. Going down to this next bar, we have data management. So data management used to be down in this section. This is just data management. If you don't look at it, you should look at it. A lot of powerful information in there. It basically tells you what your employees are doing, where things are in your office, and it's a snapshot of everything going on in your office. Anyways, now it's just up here and it's laid out in this direction. So if there's a few things we did change. So if I go to calls, let's see here. If I try to get some, I don't need to do it for calls. If I scroll down to the bottom here, now you can just move a call. So if I want to move John Casey to a different file, I check the box here and I move it. I couldn't do that before. I only could do that inside the file, but you can move a call if you didn't know that. So if you have the same phone number for two different people, like the parents and their children, and it defaults to say the children, but you want it to go under the parent, you can move it to the appropriate person. Then in data management, we have the office events. As soon as we load back in here. So what we added to the office events. So office events, basically you're tracking any kind of event happening. So we added punch clock hours in here. So if I actually were to go get some data, say I go to maybe April 11th, to see if there's some information in here, and I apply. So this will track, any time of event that was done. I think I have it defaulted to tax prep. So basically trying to track how many tax returns each person does. And I also can see how many hours they work. So again, I'm using my punch clock though. So if I did 15 returns, but I worked 15 hours, that's not that great. But if I did 15 returns and I worked 6 hours, that's very good. So that's why we added the punch clock hours along with the count of what's happening. So we track in our office, obviously tax prep, kind of gives us an idea how many returns each preparer is doing. Productivity. So I move down to my productivity, and productivity is a way of tracking basically everything, almost everything going on in your office. So not just how many tax returns they're doing or how many calls they're doing or how many uploads, how many appointments. But anyway, we added punch clock hours to that also. We also added actions. So this is basically counting everything that they're doing. So at the end of the day or anytime during the day, it's real-time data. You can just see, okay, again, it's all related to Atom. So if people are working outside of Atom, it's not going to give you an accurate count. But I mean, it does a pretty good job because Atom, if you're using Atom properly, most everything you do is in Atom. Okay, so it'll give you a count of how many actions that employee is doing, and then you can compare it to how many hours they actually worked. Only other thing we added, if I click on my name here, I can see in this user productivity details log, I can see if something was assigned to an individual, and then if I hover over here, I can actually see the note. So this was a way helpful for us to make sure if things get closed out or moved inappropriately, this is kind of what was like an audit check for us. That's kind of how we used that when we added assign to and then the note to see what was going on. I think that was all we have for data management. Now the EF data import, if you're a Drake, Crosslink, or TaxWise user, the button is right here and it's not much different. You just click on this and then you hit here and you import your data in from your tax software. The check-in alert box, which we have down here, I don't know if you notice this. So If you have it turned on, you could have got alerts when people are coming in for appointments. So if someone checked in for an appointment for Mark, because I'm logged in under Mark, and they're requesting Mark, I would get a notification right here in the upper right-hand corner. Or if it was a walk-in requesting Mark, I would get a notification in the right-hand corner. So we had to move this down to the lower left or the lower right-hand corner as opposed to the upper right. And that, again, it was tied to, we had to make changes, certain changes to make the mobile version work. So that was one reason why we had to move it down here. So anyway, that's what this is. If I close this, then it will no longer appear. So it's not gonna, every time my page refreshes, it's not gonna pop in again. So once you get the alert, you can leave it or you can close it, whatever you prefer. But that it works exactly how it worked up here in the upper right-hand corner. Now I'm gonna move here to the overview. So probably most of your eyes are probably focused on this because this looks so different. So again, these are cards, just like we had cards and the client portal. And the nice thing about cards, what I think they look nice, you know, it's got a nice shade of blue to them. You hover over it, it, you know, flickers to white. But the big thing is when I make this a phone now, scroll down, it's very easy to follow what's going on your phone by using these cards. But if you look at the way it used to look, because obviously you're probably watching this after your software has been updated, you know, it looks so much better. So it's going to be easier for your employees. So how this works, so in this case, I have 3 new assigned tasks. So what you're going to see, if it has a 0, which I should have cleared it out to have 0. I'll do this with the messages. Let me click on my messages here. I'm going to get rid of these real quick. So I'll show I have no new messages. And so this is what you'll see when I go to my home page here. So as soon as you log in the morning, obviously you should be looking at your user overview area. Do I have any assigned tasks? Do I have any messages? So if everything is good, it's going to show 0. That means I have nothing new. That means I've read everything that's in my messages, but I have 5 open ones. So I need to do something with those 5, but I know what they are because I've already read them. Same way with my assigned tasks. So I have 3 new, means I haven't touched them. I probably haven't looked at them yet. And I have 4 open. So these are no different than how it worked before when it said you had, you know, 2/4, so 2 new out of 4. So now this means I have basically 3/4. So I have 3 new, and there's a total of 4 sitting in there that are open. Same with my appointments. I have 1 new appointment for the week, and I have 5 new work schedules set up for me. So if you see this little orange banner, that means you probably should look at the card to see what's new. Just make sure you're aware of it. And unless you close it out, you know, then it's going to show it's open. So this is, I mean, the only thing we added here is we added the word open as opposed to it still was counting, showing how many are sitting in there. But if I go to my work schedule here, I think the only thing we added was we added the employee's name, and now we can export this to Excel if we'd like. Okay, now getting down to go back to my home page and to my office communications. So I'm going to expand that out. And again, we have cards there too. So your office communications, they used to be over here on the right-hand side. Your portal, your prospect portal, your text messages, email, fax, calls, depends on what you guys have signed up for. So this is now, they look like, again, they're cards. And if I make this the mobile version, it's very easy to operate on your phone. So these work the same way. So in this case, I have 2 new portal messages, a total of 4 open, and then 1 came in today. So this shouldn't be really a big problem for you, this change here. It's pretty much the same information you guys had before, just in a little bit of a different format. The nice thing is, it's a format that is very user-friendly on the phone. There is no more stretching on the phone anymore. Okay, you don't have to stretch the page anymore. Everything's the same size on the phone. One thing I forgot to point out, speaking of the phone, if I go to my help menu here, oh, the help menu is right here now. And your URLs, I don't know if you guys use this or not, but see where it said the mobile user login, and there is an M right here for mobile. You want to make sure if you have any automatic notifications going out to your clients, you want to remove the M. So now if you've always been using like the default URL up here, that meant it took either mobile or it did desktop. So, but when I put an M in here, I forced it to be mobile. Now we don't have a mobile login anymore. It's the same login whether you're on a desktop or you're on your phone, because Adam is responsive. It'll go ahead and display it properly. But you need to get rid of that M, and I already found that out for myself with our tax office. I had some of that hard coded in, and the client got an error message. So they couldn't even get to the page. It was when they clicked on the link, it was giving them an error message. So if they get an error message or you're getting an error message, you want to make sure you do not have an M in the URL that you're sending out to your clients. So that's important. Otherwise, your clients are not going to be able to log in on the portal. Okay. Let me get back here to Office Communications. So some new things we did on Office. Again, everything's new. The new look is all new, but we actually did make new feature functionality changes in addition to that. So on my Office portal here, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We have a lot of, you'll see this throughout the whole software, we have these filter buttons. So if you see that, all we're doing is, these used to be buttons, or they used to be displayed across the top. Well, that didn't look very good on the phone. I mean, it was very hard to, and it's not that it didn't look good, it was hard to actually use it properly on the phone. So, and I think this is fine. I mean, I think I like this better. It's way better to stay organized, and it's easier for your employees, I think. So you'll see a lot of filters, and these are normally they're fields of data that we don't use that often. But if you can't find something up here, where did it go? Well, it's probably under a filter. Anyway, now you can filter your client portal and your prospect portals. You can filter the subjects. So say you have, obviously, if you've been using Adam's client portal, you know incoming gets very busy during tax season. A lot of messages come in incoming. Either they're e-signing, they're paying, they're sending you documents, whichever. So it's almost too much for one person to handle. So you can actually divide out the work now and make it easy by saying, okay, so Mark, I'm logged in under Mark, so I'm going to handle document e-signs and credit card payments. Okay, so if I were to close this out now and I go back to my home page, I will only see that type of message coming through, either an e-sign or a payment. So if you look here, I have 0 portal messages, because of those portal messages, none of them fit that filtering topic. All right, so this is a way you can share the workload amongst your employees, making it easy for them, so you can divide it up. So we have our phone staff usually also handles our portal messages. So we kind of, one person's going to do appointments, but you can pick and choose. And each employee, it's by employee. So I would just go back here. Now I hit all, close it, and now I should see everybody when I come back to my home page, if I did it correctly. So there we go. Now I'm back to my 2 new. But anyway, that's how that works. Prospect works the same way. That's new. So that filtering, we actually tested it out last tax season, worked great, able to divide up the work. Certain things are very simple coming in on the portal. Some are a little more complicated, like e-sign. So you want to make sure the people that really understand how the e-sign works, they see those. The other people don't need to see it at all. Another thing we added for portal, prospect, text, email, all of those. So we've always had, if you're using Adam's calls, you can get, obviously you can set up a message for the client, let them know you're closed during certain office hours or holidays, but we couldn't do that really for any of these. So many people are communicating with us not just by phone anymore. They're coming in by text, email, portal, prospect, whichever. So I'm like, well, I'd like to let them know we're not working today. So how do I do that? So now we have it actually linked to you can link it to your work schedule. So if you're only open 9 to 7, then at 7:01, when they send you anything, an email, a text, a portal, they will get a message saying, these are your office hours, and you'll get back to them, the next day. Or if you want to say we monitor it occasionally after hours and will help any emergencies, that's what we do in our office. But we did that all summer long because we kind of changed our tax office hours. We weren't open the same hours as we were in past years. So I want to make sure I got to communicate with my clients. The key is, and that's what Adam's all about, is communication. So communicate with your clients. Now you can easily do that. So that's all set up in admin under predefined client portal messages or prospect or text. So it's all 4 of these. So you just look at the outline how to set that up. It's a very nice tool, and it's automatic. If you guys using the work schedule for your hours, or it would also tie to your appointment calendar for hours too. Office tasks. Let me click down here. And these didn't change other than we have the cards, and you have the banner, so that means it's new. So if it's orange, you should probably act on it and see what's going on with it. Next, we come over here to our office events. Office events really didn't change a whole lot. Obviously, it looks a little nicer. Oh, we still have that theme popping. So, again, we went with these. These are called badges. It just looks nicer. So if you see orange, that's supposed to draw attention to you. Before it was red, so we went with orange. So obviously the past dues, that's nothing new. That was there before. You can set that all up in admin. The things that are due, we have things linked to we have a column called schedule appointment and one called checked in. So if you're using our check-in screen, it's going to automatically pull that forward. The schedule appointment, it's going to show the date and time. And that's how you can now control whether it's past due, due now. It's all can be tied to that scheduled appointment. And the main reason we did this was because we have a lot of people working remote now. So what's happening is they're dropping their documents off in advance. So we have to get the documents into the client file. So we have to actually create a new year for them, even though their appointment hasn't even happened yet. All right, so we had to keep track of that. So then when their appointment actually came, we got alerted on the office event screen that it's due now, so we don't miss that appointment. And then we call them up and kind of go over the tax return. That's why we had that created with the scheduled appointment. So I'm inside of in this case, lobby. I can click on this view all office events icon here. This pulls out, this is called a drawer, slides out. I can go wherever I'd like, go down to reviewer if I want. And again, I just click the slide drawer and there it is again. I have these filters over here because right now the only fields I have displaying is my site, business type, and my user. Click on this. Here's some more fields that used to be up at the top, but again, this makes it a cleaner look for your mobile version. You can select these and hit apply filter anytime you want, but these are the ones that aren't used as often. Let me go down here. We added a new, for those that are using Adam's e-signing, this came in very handy for us during tax season. Again, we started making these changes. We couldn't push them all to you, but we actually were beta testing some of these during tax season. This was one of them. So we added the column e-signed column, and it's going to identify those that, if it's an X, that means it's set up for e-sign, but they haven't e-signed yet. If it's a green check, that means they've e-signed. In this case, they haven't paid me yet, but that's what this column, so you turn that column on in admin event status. We also added an add button up here, drop down menu, so you can add event, predefined note, predefined notification, and transaction. So these were all buttons at the bottom. So a lot of buttons. So we kind of hid the buttons in a add function button. And then our actions, email, export, invoice, override, portal message, print, remove. So again, we had to try to make this workable on the phone. And with all those buttons, there's no way this is going to be able to be used on the phone as a mobile version. So now it actually makes it very easy. So I don't think it took anything away. I think it's easier for your new employees. Obviously, you've been using this 20 years, you knew where everything was, but this makes more sense. So anyway, that's on every single Office event now. And you'll notice most of the buttons are going to be in the upper right-hand corner. Next, we have the daily log. You see how I can quickly get to things without having to go back to my home page. So I go to my daily log. Something was added here. So under status, it's this one, it's highlighted in red. I hover over it. It says closed events not completed. So that means somebody may have closed this event, hit an end date, and there's no completed event. So normally that should never happen in the real world of a tax workflow. Okay, I mean, every office works differently, but so this is kind of to help identify those that may have got closed out by mistake before they went through the whole flow process. So if you see anything highlighted in red here under the status, you need to probably investigate to see was it closed out in error. Search, go to the search tab now. So what we've added here, the fields are probably the same. Before you had to expand to see additional search fields. Now it's an advanced search filter, this drawer that slides out, and then you can just enter whatever you like and do your search just like before. It's just by us adding these drawers, as they call them, it works very nice on the mobile version of your phone. And honestly, in the desktop, I think it's cleaner, easier to stay organized. So I close this out. We also moved your favorites and your recent files to the search as opposed to being on the home page. Now with your recent, you're going to have your top 10 and you can have a little more information. So now you have all your recent, not just by business type, but it'd be everything. So you can have a mix of different business types in here for your recent, and then it's going to tell you the last status too. If I go to my favorites, it works exactly the way it did before. It just gives you a little more information than what we had on the home page for favorites and recents. Let me look here. I got next is my punch clock. No big changes there. If I were to go to my regular punch clock, here's my punch in and out board. If I want to search for something, again, I have a drawer coming out here. That's where I would enter my information. If I go in here to punch clock billable employee hours to log hours, this is where you're going to do it. Again, it's going to be a side drawer here. You're going to log them. And in fact, I want to put that in the employee hours here. If you use an add-on to track your employee hours, again, it's got a log hours button, side drawer, then you're going to record them here and hit log hours. So again, this makes it all usable on the phone without an issue. Calendars, go to my appointments. No big changes here, other than I got my filters. So instead of having a lot of fields display up here, here's my filters. If I need to filter my calendar right here, the drawer. Let me see if I have anything different on there. Send batch notifications. If you want it right now, Adam will send out reminders to the clients. You can set up for when it goes out. The problem is if you want it to go out the same day, because Adam's normally on the East Coast, the messages don't go out till like 10 a.m. So if you actually have a 9 a.m. appointment, you're going to miss that person. So you can actually come in here. Unfortunately, it is a manual process. If you click on this link, send batch notifications filtered by appointment type, it's going to blast them out to all your clients for that day. It's going to tell them their appointment time and their type. So if it's online, if it's on the phone, if it's in person, it's gonna go ahead and send that message that you've already set up in admin based on that appointment type. But this is a way of you blasting a message to them the same day, just because the way Adam works, there is a little bit of a lag as to when that would go out on a daily basis. You always will have your normal reminders like you have set up in admin, and typically it's probably the day before. Online appointments page. Again, I'm going from the outline here as opposed to just, I guess I could jump to it real quick. If I just go to, if I jump into our website here, XTax, and I say schedule new appointment, new client. So this is the new client appointment page. It's just a little cleaner look. Your instructions here are at the top as opposed to used to be a box over here. This page also, just like the prospect page, it's going to filter, do like a lookup for email and phone number. If it finds it in our database already as an existing client, it's going to tell them to go to the portal to schedule their appointment because they're already an existing client. This is for new clients, not for existing clients. So it's automatically going to do that for you to look that up to hopefully keep it clean, and so they don't actually send a appointment request or try to book an appointment as a new client when they're actually already in your system. Close that out. I think that's the last time I have to go to our website. Appointment reminders. In admin, when you set up your appointment reminders, there's dynamic fields where you can tell it the date and the time. So we always defaulted the date and time for some appointment reminders. Just, but they always, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, they was always at the bottom of the message. So it kind of looked a little confusing to the client receiving it. So now you guys, when you build out your appointment reminders in admin, I mean, we can just go here, admin, it's under admin, messaging, and then email text templates under appointment reminders. So the reason I'm pointing this out because it may cause problems if you don't add this. Where is it? It's up here. So these are the dynamic fields, and you'd put in, if you want to put in the date and time, you'd put in the date and time, and it gives you instructions up here how to do that. So just wanted to point that out, and always call support if you need help. But if you use the appointment reminders, maybe you should call them and just make sure they're all set up properly. Next, for our appointment calendar is availability. No big change there, other than if you want to add, when you want to add an employee's availability, there's an add button now. This is how you add it. Just as, again, it's a side door popping out. Honestly, I think it's a lot easier to use. Work schedule, same type of thing. We do have the filter. Some of the fields that were up here, now it's under a filter. And then we have the add. So if you want to add someone's work schedule, that's how you're going to add it. Links. So right here, these are your favorite links that you build out. Again, the only change here is you have an add to add your link. And then you'll see these little buttons here too throughout the software. Instead of like a checkbox, now we have this little click the button and it goes back and forth organizing your client files and whichever. That's what that is all for. All right, getting to our next page here in the outline, we have users. So these are your employees that you have in the system, the users. So if you see these highlighting right here, so Colleen, this just means she didn't set up her the begin and end dates for your tax reporting information, so they're outside the range. So as you guys know, you want to make sure you have your begin and end dates in the tax reporting so that your reports are accurate. So we try to make it easy for you guys to identify those that don't have it set up. So that's what it means if it's highlighted in yellow. So that's new. As I go into my file here, going to Colleen's, we now have a sidebar right here. So as opposed to scrolling, so this user page was a long scroll up and down. Now we don't scroll anymore. Now we go to the right section wherever we want to go. So I'm going to go to tax reporting, I go to it really quick and I can enter the information. I want to go to the user documents, I go to them really quick. I don't scroll up and down and I have to hunt around. So again, this is easier for your new employees. You've been using it 20 years, you knew where everything was, okay? But if you bring on somebody new, this is a lot easier. It's visually able to see where you need to go as opposed to having to memorize where to go. So That's why we went ahead and built out the sidebar. Not to mention, again, it's very helpful on the mobile version to have the sidebar. It's quicker. Once you get used to it, it's faster to move, and you don't have to have every page load at once. It's one page at a time, which makes the software quicker. User documents. The only thing new there is, excuse me, again, here's a show all years, a little button, and now we have anywhere where you upload a document now, and we had it in different areas. We're trying to be more consistent with everything works the same, again, to make it easier for your users, your employees, so you're not doing like, oh, I'm in this page, I do it this way, and this page, it's another way. No, we're trying to be consistent, so we try to do that throughout the software. Now when I hit add, this is how I upload a document in the user. Before, if you remember, there was a down here you browsed. So again, we just try to be consistent. Now I'm in my phone, click on my phone. And again, because now this is mobile friendly, responsive to the phone, you can actually easily, you could do it before, but now you can do it easily. You could actually make your office calls from your cell phone and receive your office calls from your cell phone. So it's not, you're doing it actually through the speaker on your phone, but now with it being mobile friendly, it's very easy to do if you want to. But that's another thing on here I wanted to point out on the phone, if you're using Adam's phone, is for the intercom. Now when an employee intercoms you, you're actually going to see their name come through. So before we didn't know who it was. Now if Marcella intercoms me, I can see it's Marcella with an incoming call. So obviously I should be answering every intercom, but you do have the choice now because you know who the employee is intercom. It's going to be a little browser notification pop up in your lower right hand corner. It's going to say who it is. Missed calls, so say if you're away from your desk when somebody intercommed you, you actually will see that when you come back because it'll show it down here again that you had a missed call, and it's going to show who the missed call was from. So you can go call that person back and say, hey, why'd you call me? And again, this is tied to intercom. For people when you're in the queue, if you use the queue for Adam, so these are incoming calls unrelated to intercom. Incoming client calls, they go into the queue. Say you're very busy in the office and you just can't handle them. You don't want them to wait forever. There's actually, it's too hard for me to set this up to show you, but there's now an icon on the queue in that thing. You'll see that caller and it's like, oh my God, they've been there for 3 or 4 minutes, or I'm not going to get to them for 15, 20. You can actually shoot them and you can hit the icon. It'll send them right to your voice message so that they don't have to sit there in the queue and then you never get to them anyway. So you can kind of manage your queue. So that's a new feature. You would set that up in admin. Reports, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. So now I'm in my reports. So some new ones we have in here are bookkeeping, transaction entries. Oh, where's that? Thought I kind of put them all in here. So we have bookkeeping, transaction entries. Right here, transaction entries and transaction types. Now we've added discount column was added to those. Discrepancy report, and it's a new report. Non-complete returns removed from workflow. That means that, again, this might be somebody that that moved them, basically put an end date on an office event and didn't make it complete. So most likely they closed that thing out without it going through your whole workflow process. So this is a way of identifying those clients that possibly may have been, as they call it, like slipped through the cracks. Upload report, if I come down to management and upload reports, right down here, what we've added to that report is we've added 2 columns, one called e-signature required and another one e-signature received column. So again, it's a helpful tool if you're using Adam's e-sign that you can keep track of those that may not have e-signed yet. But I think this report was developed, I believe, before we added that column to the office events, because that's a really nice way of tracking and keeping control of those that haven't e-signed yet that possibly should have. All right, moving on to admin. So we've gone ahead and broke the admin up into, what do we got here? 4 different like headings. So actions, category types, core configuration, and messaging. So that's kind of, we've broken it up to make it easier for you, as opposed, because there's a huge long list. So if you go to the right section. So if I were to go to, let's see here, where am I at? Admin, batch messaging. So I want to go to messaging, batch messaging. We've added a nice advanced filter here. So those that have used batch messaging, you know, it's kind of a little intimidating because there's so many ways to filter to make sure you get your message out to the right client. So now when you click on this, here's all your filtering to make it a little more user-friendly for you to basically identify the right client to get the message to. So that's new. That advanced filter bar is new. Company. So if I go to my admin, core configuration, company, and tax information, we just added a sidebar here. One thing I forgot to point out on the user page, when I click on show hide sidebar, if I left click it again, it disappears. If I just kind of scroll over here, it pulls out and I can go wherever I want. If I want it to remain, I click it again and it'll never, you know, collapse back unless I click the bar again. Even if I leave and log out and come back, if you always want to have a sidebar, you can always have the sidebar. So you kind of manage that yourself. That's at the user level. Again, so basically there's no scrolling. This is how you get to. So you'll see inside the client file, when you get there, we have a sidebar there. You're going to find that your eyes are going to go left quickly because that's where all the information is, and that's how you quickly go from section to section as opposed to just one giant scroll. It's quicker, and once you get used to it, it's actually a lot quicker. Upload system logo and icon. So I go to my admin, and I go to my core configurations, and down here, upload system logo and icon. You guys can now, if you want to change your logo or do whatnot, if you notice your logo might not look quite the way it did before with the old version of Atom. So you can go ahead and upload a new logo here, an icon, and then that'll make it look nice, just like we have. That's what we did here with Atom Software. We had to make some changes. Here's the icon, here's the or the logo, and here's the message, Atom, the name of the company. So that's where you can do it yourself right here. And obviously Atom support can help you with that. File information. So this is probably the biggest change that you guys got to get used to. Everything I showed before, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward once you get, and it shouldn't take you long to get used to the home page. So now when I go into a client file and I go to my dummy file here, John Casey. So this is the client file now. So this is a lot different than what you've had before. But then look at this, when I look at this thing on my phone and I collapse my sidebar, I can scroll, I get this nice contact summary, which I'm gonna go over in a second. Again, I have them separated as cards. This is just basically a contact summary as a snapshot of my entire client file. Okay, I didn't have that before. Now I can see if they owe me money, what status they're in, do they have any e-sign documents out there? How many documents do they have there? So I have all that really quick and easy in it as a summary. Did they get, did the return get accepted or not? But anyway, this is all mobile friendly. So now I put it back. Again, I have my sidebar, which we're going to talk about right away. I'm going to left click on the top. So I'm going to freeze it so it'll never change again unless I click it again. So no more scrolling. I know you 20-year plus client Atom users are used to scrolling. You know where every button is, every nook and crack of the software. Well, not everybody, not all your employees know that. So this is more user-friendly to majority of our Atom users. Okay, it was a little learning curve for myself because obviously I've been using Atom for a long time. I've been used to scrolling. I knew where all the buttons were. But now that I've used it, this is actually a lot easier and quicker, and I get more information in one glance than I can scrolling up and down. So over here, so the information I get really quick from the sidebar, without even looking at this contact summary, is I can obviously see my appointment. This little red dot icon, that means there's something there. There's a permanent note here I need to click on. If I click on permanent note, there's my note. So these red icons or dots, they're indicating there's something I need to look at or be aware of, like it's open event. So this event right here, that means it's I have an open event. This one means they owe me money, 650 bucks. I can see right away the return's been accepted, federal accepted. Here I can see I have a task note, a phone message. Right here, my account docs. And we're gonna go over all this stuff. This is this showing I'm waiting e-signature. I couldn't do that before with my giant scroll. Okay, even if I knew where everything was, it took me a while. The amount of information I just rambled off right there, I had to go to I'd go to my upload page, see did they e-sign or not. So I can see so much more information so much faster by using this sidebar. So this is going to make, I mean, I know you're going to get used to it because you're used to scrolling, but once you get used to it, you're going to love it, just like everyone in our office loves it. Call, text message, I can see if I have anything open, email, portal, all this stuff, just like before. I just get it all here in a glance in my sidebar. So let's go through that sidebar here. So I just said that, okay, one other thing, this quick action button here, I left click this. I can do all these things from anywhere inside the software. I can add an upload. I can add a permanent upload. I can send an email. I can send a text. I can add a transaction, add a link client. So it doesn't matter where I'm at in the software inside the file, I can do this as long as I use this quick action button. And obviously this is no different. I can get from their link clients. I can go to any year I want. No big deal there. So let's start at the top, contact summary. Again, this is a snapshot of my client file. So if you're using Adam's phone system, the first thing you do is obviously they call in, you see who it is because their name's going to pop. You click on their name, you're right in their file. This is the first page you come to. So you have a good idea. I'm like, oh, I can see the return's already been, filed. I got the appointment. They owe me money. If they've uploaded documents or sent documents to me, e-sign, phone message. So and then I scroll down here. I got the special condition. This is a special condition for their appointment. They need help climbing the stairs. These are the requested preparers, the count type, difficulty. So if I'm actually scheduling an appointment for somebody, I know how hard the return is. I know their age, their ID I can look at, and whether they've uploaded their docs. So one other thing I wanted to point out when I do quick actions, this is probably the quickest spot you'll have to schedule the appointment if you're inside the client file. So from here, you just click on there and you shoot right in the calendar. Some of these cards will disappear so once you e-sign, this card will disappear. Once you take care of this phone message, it'll disappear. If I click on it, it takes me right to the task note section right here. I go back to my contact summary. I click on the 650 they owe me. It takes me right here to the transaction information. Here's a breakdown. So I can see the current year is 200, prior year is 130, link clients 320. If I click on my link clients here, that takes me right to my link client page, and I can see, oh, yep, they owe me 320 from JTC Communications. So it's a lot of information, and you can quickly go to a lot of different places by clicking. Here, client representatives, if I want to change who the requested preparer is, I click on this. That shoots me into the contact information, and over here, file settings, that's where I make that change. So I switch it over to Delaney, I save it. So now the save button is going to be in the upper right-hand corner. If I go back to my contact summary, now Delaney, she's default communications. I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Delaney here. So that's how the contact summary works. So if you look here, as I move down, these bars are right here. We used to have this in the lower left where you could quickly get to switch to a different person. So now it's up here at the top. This icon right here, copy access code to clipboard. If I left click this copies, basically it's their social security number. I then go to my other screen with my tax software and I right click and I paste their social in so I can quickly, without having to, type in the numbers, the social security number, I just do a copy and paste. That's what this is right here. Let me go now down to contact info. Not a whole lot of changes here. If you see the bar moves with me, this is just our normal contact info, the phone number, address, password, and whatever. And I do have obviously the save button here. These actions and links, these are the buttons I had. If I click on my links, so my call log, a lot of this stuff is also down here on the sidebar. So whatever way you find it easier to get to, obviously once you get a hang of it, the sidebar is going to where you're going to go all the time to get to sections or part of this client file. But you can do it right here too. Actions, these are actions. Again, these are all linked to the contact information. So I can add a permanent upload, I can delete a client file, I can print from here, I can schedule the appointment from here. But a lot of these I can also do in my quick actions. So quick actions are going to go, this button's going to go with you throughout the client file for the most part. This actions is going to be strictly tied to this contact information. So if it's inside the client, inside the section, it's strictly related to that section. So now when I go to my permanent notes, that really didn't change much. It's the same thing, the save button here. Appointments, that's just going to show me the appointments for the year. I can check this box and see the appointments for everything. I click on schedule, I can schedule appointment from here too. So there's several areas where you can do what you need to do. So you just decide where is it easier for you. Again, I think the sidebar is going to come up for the most part where you're going to find yourself going a lot, and the quick actions button. Account information, that's where you're ranking your difficulty, your prep time, just like before. It's exactly the same. Referral type, again, I have my actions over here. Here I can add a new year, add an account upload, copy an account year, delete the account, my links. Here's my billable time, my log hours, my account docs. But again, some of this stuff you can get right here from the sidebar. I go right here for my account docs. I just click on here and I'm in to see what my files are. Events. Not going to organize it by status. Here I am. Here's all my events. I uncheck the box. I'm just looking at my pending client. So this didn't change at all. I mean, it works pretty much the same way. Again, if I want to add an event, I'm going to get the pop-up box here. It's just a drawer as opposed to being the way it looked before. Close it. And again, I can do the same thing from here. I can add an event from here if I want. It's the same thing. It's just I have the same functionality inside of each section that you can do for the most part from the quick actions. So whatever's easier for you. But the quick actions, I can add an event from any, I could be down in my task notes and my transactions, I can add an event. So you're going to find yourself using this a lot. So you should be able to do things quicker now. Once you get the hang of it, it's going to take you, I'm not going to lie, it's going to take you a few days just to get used to not scrolling, but just look over to the left. Okay, left gives you a lot of information, and this is like your navigation. This is how you move throughout the client file now, and you move fast. Okay, so eventually you're gonna say, why did I do this crazy scroll up and down? And I'm telling you, your new employees, we have new employees coming in already, and they find it. I mean, it's like common sense, the flow. So it's easy for them to get to spot. So this should be easier for you to train new employees. Obviously, you're just used to doing it one way. So it's going to take you longer to learn it probably than a new employee would. Actions, again, bill events, delete. So if you find yourself like, where's that button? For the most part, the buttons are all probably hidden in an actions or a link button. Okay, print is going to be here. Update, the update button is what used to be called mark as done, undone. So if I were to check this box here and hit update, it would mark it done. All right, so it's the same thing. That's what update is. And update is throughout the client file. Transactions, I already showed you how this links off. Again, if I hit add a transaction, it's my drawer as opposed to being that box that used to pop up. My e-pay, so we used to have, pay with credit card, pay with e-check. Now when I hit e-pay, there it is right here. So if I hit pay with credit card, here's my pop-up right here. We made this page look nicer. If I have multi-year, makes it easier to see it. We moved it to the top. I can just check the box here. And then I get my total here. If you put a convenience fee on here, it'll total it out here. And the notes also, we made that look a lot nicer for multi-year transactions. Same way with e-checks, works exactly the same way. If you use our, if you're processing payments through Atom, made it look nicer. For your users, again, here's the update button. EF data, so we made this look nicer too. Refunds are going to be green, and red would be balanced dues. And if if it's accepted or not, you can see that right there. One thing that did change, so we typically had, your go out to where's my refund for the IRS and the states right down here. So they're right here. Links. So that'll take you out to where's my refund. That's the amendment, and then this is your state link. So it's up here in the button. And again, this makes it a lot nicer on the phone for you to use. Phone message, your task notes. Again, if you want to add something, we had that pop. Now it's a drawer popping out, my actions, my delete, my print, my update, just like before. Account docs, this X here, that's say awaiting signature. So when I click on account docs, shoots me into my account docs page. And we updated these too. So this means the spouse signed. So it's a green checkbox. The red X means they have not e-signed yet. Add a little highlighting for full access, and limited access, I believe, is yellow. This is green. Other than that, we did change. Yeah, this is different. So when you add a document now, an upload, it's going to be the drawer popping out. Prior to that, it was right down here. So you did a browse. So again, we tried to be consistent. Do everything the same way, as opposed to some pages are different than the others. This is a better, easier for you to train people on, to get used to things. Actions, if you override field, move uploads, we move uploads a lot. Faxing, okay. One other thing we changed with fax, when you click on the fax, now you can send a cover page. Just check that box there if you're using Adam's fax functionality. Make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, I think account uploads, account docs, new e-signs, fax feature, got that. My permanent docs, no big change there, other than, again, if you're uploading a document, you're going to add it with the side drawer here. Actions, again, if you want to move, download as a zip, delete, everything's under the actions button. Moving to my calls down here, nothing really changed here other than, this is how you can access them. You can also access them from, some of the word, if you're in the contact information, but it's a lot easier here. So my text, again, the red dot here, that means there's something open. If I click on here, there's the open message, and I'm going to send a text. I just hit add, and again, it works the same way. Refresh actions, I can move a text, and then my complete. And again, this is really nice on the phone. So if I hit add a text, this is what it looks like on my phone. Very, very easy to use. So no more stretching, none of that stuff. Close it. Now my email, everything's the same. So portal message, prospect message, if I had anything, it would be showing here. Again, it would have the red the red dot. All years, this is just going to keep track of all the years they've been with me. So 20 years. The red dot means there's an open year. So if I click on all years, in this case in 2020, I need to pick up a tax return. So obviously, I know you guys were scrolling, you knew where things were in the scroll. If you look at that, I find myself just, first I go in my file, I'm looking left. Okay, where's my red dots? What's going on with my file? And I see it, and I know everything like within 5 seconds, everything going on with the file. I'm not going up and down. Did I miss anything? Or where was that? So it's all right here in an easy snapshot of what's happening. Or you can go to the contact summary too. Favorite links. So these are all your favorite links. If you use this, just made this look a little nicer. Link clients. So if you have any link clients, and then if you add a link client, you just select add. And now this is how you add that. You just go ahead and search for them. And again, it's this drawer popping out. Again, it's a lot cleaner, more organized, and it's consistent throughout the software. Everything is using the same functionality, so which should be easier for you guys to learn. Lastly, we have the communication summary. And this was the same we had before. This is just a snapshot of, how many calls these clients are, emails, basically how much time they're taking. So this table is not new, it just looks different. And then of course you put a dollar amount with it. But it's an important table, a lot of good information. That's why we actually have it in the sidebar, easy for you to go to. And that is it for the fall changes. So it's gonna take you a little time to get used to it, not a lot of time. Give it a week, okay, before you call support. I think you're gonna be able to find everything. It's just, a little different, but in the end, it's better. It's gonna be easier and faster. Your clients are gonna love it. You're gonna love it, and you're gonna find you'll be able to do a lot more things quicker than you did in the past. But with that being said, this is a fall release. We're gonna have a winter release. Basically, we have some changes still coming, but we're going to be tweaking it. Obviously, we're learning as we're using this new, the latest technology and everything. So if you find something like, hey, Mark, I wish it would do this instead, send that to support, and we'll definitely, look into it and try to add it. If it makes sense for all of our users, we're definitely going to add it. Depends how big of a change it is, because obviously it's November right now, so we don't have a whole lot of time to get the next winter release out. This one just took longer than we thought, but it was pretty huge. Okay, we actually started this in March, so we've been working hard and long, and we're very happy with the product. I hope you guys are too. So I will be in touch with you again later for our winter release. Enjoy this. Give us feedback. We want feedback. Hopefully it's positive, but we'll take negative feedback too, because we learn from things that we may not have seen. So thank you again for all your support for Adam, and enjoy. Thank you.